This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome back, everyone. It looks like everyone's here except the Mayor Pro Tem. I'm sure she'll be joining us shortly.
Hello, Rana.
Hey there. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the September 22nd, 2020 regular City Council meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all. I need approval for the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda for the September 22nd, 2020 agenda as approved, as presented, excuse me. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The agenda passes. Approval of the minutes. Minutes of the September 8th, 2020 regular meeting of the Tenino City Council.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the September 8th, 2020 regular meeting of the Tenino City Council as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The consent calendar, payroll EFTs in the amount of $20,250.88 and claims checks $29,348 through $29,375 and other EFTs in the amount of $29,412.66 for a grand total of $49,663.54. Note, checks 29,370 and 29,372 have been voided as misprints.
Move approval.
Second.
We also have cannabis licenses, renewal of the Fraternal Order of the Eagles. It has been moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Executive session, we've had that. No presentations. Public comment. Number one, if anyone in the audience has public comment, you have 3 minutes. Again, if anyone in the audience has public comments, you have 3 minutes. Please state your name and address. Okay, no public hearing, no proclamations, old business, new business. Council member Dave Watterson has submitted a letter of resignation. It says, "Dear Mayor and Council, it is with mixed emotions that I tender my resignation from the City Council effective at 5 p.m. on September 9th, 2020. I hope to remain active in my role as a citizen of the city in the future. I wish for the best to each of you and all the city staff. Sincerely, Dave Watterson." I would like to mention that Dave has agreed to taking on a role within the administration to serve as a volunteer special project coordinator so that he can continue to work on energy efficiency and sustainability. We really value his input and contributions, and we are happy to work with him and continue to fold his vision into our progress and planning. Are there any questions or statements?
Did he mention why he,
No, he did not. No. He said exactly what I said and I read you his letter. So
Well, this is a surprise to me, but all the best for Dave. He's going to be missed. Big shoes to
yeah,
fill.
I agree. I believe that we need to is there a motion to accept the council member Watterson's resignation?
With regrets, yes.
Okay, there's a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
I have bad about this too. I really do. I wish I could vote.
You,
Okay, it's been moved and seconded and voted on, and that the council accepts council member Watterson's resignation. Okay. During the period of time that the chief's vehicle has been idle, a detailed inspection has revealed the need for maintenance that exceeds what had originally been budgeted for that particular vehicle. After having called various vendors, Baker's Towing has offered to make all repairs discovered by the inspection for $4,000. Recommended action is to move to authorize the expenditure of $4,000 for the repair of the F-150 pickup designated for the use by the Tenino Police Department.
So we can have discussion. I move to accept.
Okay.
Second.
So moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, how much have we already put into that truck?
I don't know.
we put
John?
in a little over 1,000 about 3 months after we first got it, because on those new vehicles, each individual cylinder has a coil, and all the coils needed replacing. So that was 8 of them at about $200 a pop. But other than that, it's been, the vehicle itself's only like 8 years old, and it's just been, a door handle here and a knob there. But again, while it was sitting there not being used, they crawled all over it, and they just want to make it nice.
Where's the money coming from? What pot?
So if you look at the overall police department budget, they are underspent, and what they're asking to do really, even though it's not worded that way, is move some of the existing monies around within their accounts so that they can fix that truck.
And they have enough to cover the 4.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'm done. Move approval. We already did that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay. Resolutions, we have none. Ordinances, we have none. Reports, Chamber of Commerce, nothing to report. Economic, EDC, VCB, Fire District 12.
Nothing to report.
Okay. Library. Is Linda here?
She is not.
Okay. Museum.
I believe they're doing Pioneer Village this weekend. That's what's been all over Facebook.
Yeah, they are. I'm going to be there to help.
I've got to be
Tenino,
on other obligations.
Tenino Community Service Center, food bank, in other words. Okay. Arch Commission, Civil Service Commission, Planning Commission. John?
So at the last meeting of the Planning Commission, they had Miss Rachel Granreth lead the planning commissioners through the Shoreline Management Program update. And that was a very good conversation. It's kind of like the executive session. They got the update before we had a lot of the information developed, but we were able to sit down. Rachel organized a meeting with a lot of people from the Department of Ecology, from the Thurston Conservation District, from the Department of Commerce, their Growth Management Act guy, and other interested parties. There was a couple of concerned, well, not concerned, but interested citizens in that group, and it was all about touching base with the other state and local agencies where our shoreline management program has an impact. And it was a really good discussion. I was very pleased to hear as we outlined our vision, what we're trying to create here in Tenino with, all of the different projects that we're going and how they're related, the extension of the Yelm Tenino Trail, the establishment of the Southwest Washington Agriculture and Innovation Park, all the money we've been throwing into our park, the creation of the historic district, how we would like to not just preserve Scatter Creek, but integrate Scatter Creek into that overarching theme, if you will, and do something creative. For example, we've already talked to you about the interest in a bed and breakfast kind of thing on one of the commercially zoned properties between the railroad tracks and Scatter Creek. If we could do that without violating any of the tenets of the shoreline management program, what you're actually doing is the whole reason for the preservation project is so that future humans can enjoy it. Not yes, it's habitat and it's an ecosystem for plants and animals and fish. But when we preserve things like that, we're trying to do it so that we humans can enjoy it too. And there were a lot of people getting excited about it. I think we're going to have a good product here when it's done. Anyway, that's what they did mostly at that planning commission meeting. Excuse me. I'm working with Dan Penrose. When we get to my report, I'll explain more about it, but the habitat conservation plan has come back up, and we're going to rope that into our processes. And then just trying to tie all the little individual developments around in here and thinking about the way our municipal code is written, what it does and doesn't allow, still looking to tweak it during the window when we open the comp plan. So a lot of activity in that arena.
Thank you. Figure, nothing. Finance Committee. No, we had a meeting last month, nothing this month. Public Safety Committee, Chief of Police, Director of Public, pardon me.
I was just going to tell you, Ms. Rodriguez, our police clerk, is orchestrating the background investigation process for future Chief Lougheed. She came in and met with John Steins. John's the one doing the background investigation. So they had their initial conversations. She has to go in and have a psychological exam and a polygraph exam. Those are being scheduled. And then administratively, once her application winds its way back to me after everybody else is done looking at it, we're going to give it to the Civil Service Commission and use that and the other lateral police officer applications that we've been presented with and build a standing list, something that we've been without for a while.
Good. Okay, Director of Public Works. No report. City Planner. City Attorney, we've already heard from him. Clerk Treasurer.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. So I'd like to focus on the total revenue projections and total expenditures. Notice that there's 3.2 percentage points difference between them, and we're exactly 3/4 of the way through our fiscal year. And even though both of those projections are below the, quote unquote target or the normal, they're within 3.2% of each other. And that's really good news to me because it indicates that we're not going to have a huge gap between what we had budgeted and what we finally wind up with. Then when you look at the general fund itself, okay, that's the snapshot of the general fund. I would reiterate what I have already told you. I see no change in our property taxes. I do see the drop in revenue in state shared earnings, particularly those things that depend on spending. So anything that derives from sales taxes, use taxes, things like that, those are definitely down. But for the city of Tenino itself, we've had an unusual amount of building activity, and those are expensive. So that has shored up a lot of those shortfalls for us. Now the lion's share of that money is in the proprietary accounts, capital improvement fees for the sewer and water, but that's still a good news story. So I'll I'm going to back out of this and let you see on this worksheet, if you want to review it, all of these areas that have the 300 series of bars code numbers, those are all the revenues. And I've completed looking at the MRSC calculators. I've looked at the implicit price deflator. I've looked at the historical averages, and I'm pretty comfortable. I will continue refining these numbers as we continue to receive revenues, but I feel pretty good about these projections. And overall, right now, if you tried to balance this against what the other department heads said they want, there's a deficit. But Mayor Fournier and I have not sat down and started making the hard looks at, basically prioritizing what we must do and what we should do and what we can do. So I would just commend that. That's there for your review if you want to look at it. Let me back to the. So here's a review. The CARES Act funding, we requested reimbursement back at the end of July, and they still have not processed that reimbursement. I talked to them today. It's been approved. It just hasn't been released. We got an additional, I want to say $28,000 added to our account. So we had a total of $82,800 available. I'm sorry I didn't put this number in there, but I'll do the math real quick here. We still have $68,211 available to us, of which probably less than $1,500 represents money that we've already spent and would get reimbursed. So really about $65,000 we need to take a good hard look at and see where we could make the best use of those funds. So some cities are buying Yelm went out and bought a couple of 55-gallon drums of hand sanitizer and told everybody in the city of Yelm, if you need it, come and get it. The county dropped off masks here. We didn't ask for them, but we got enough masks so that we could give 2 to each citizen of Tenino and still have some left over. So all of those kinds of things are doable. If people have ideas, we'd be really happy to hear them. We're working on the creative district. We got the $5,000 for establishing it. We're using that to pay Mr. Sharp to write up our economic development plan. A little segue there. We had a meeting about that with the EDC a 3 days ago. It was a very productive meeting. I think we're going to have a very good product from Mr. Sharp. We have a pre-bid meeting tomorrow morning to go meet with the 2 contractors that have, or are thinking about, I should say, submitting bids for City Hall renovation. They're a little bit nervous about the historic nature of the building, and you know, we'll calm them down. It's we love we love this building. We want to see it better. We're not going to do anything to hurt it. Um, all we have to do is try to remain as true to the original architecture as possible, and we'll be good. We have a meeting tomorrow afternoon after the renovation meeting to sit down with the aquatic engineer and really get going on the Quarry pools. So we're really excited about that. No change in status for the Quarry House CDBG grant. The Ag Park, we had that break in the action while Mr. Barcott had to attend to his other contracts. But beginning tomorrow, actually, they started work on it yesterday at a low level, but tomorrow they will have their whole crew mobilized, and they're going to extend the service lines for the from the water main onto the Ag Park property. So that's pretty exciting. We had I want to say that we had approached this subject with you, but I'm going to ask you tonight if you want us to pursue a grant to write a habitat conservation plan, and our intent for that plan will be to use it to help us mitigate the requirements with respect to the Mazama pocket gopher, the checker spot butterfly, and the protected species of plant life that we find in West Tenino. It's changed a little bit from what we've been talking about over the last couple of years, but State Fish and Wildlife is still very interested in purchasing property across the street. So this is an opportune time for us to write that plan so that we can leverage that purchase. You know, we always assume success, so we assume the state is going to be successful, and if they're successful, we will be successful. So I would ask you to approve us to go ahead and submit the grant application for this HCP Planning Assistance Grant. It's a true grant. We don't have to match it. The feds will give us the money to write a plan.
Loach already talked about this, but go ahead, make it so. That's my
Do we
motion.
have, you're making a motion, John?
Yes, to approve the grant.
I've got a motion.
Second.
Second. Okay. All in favor of approving the application?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you, ladies and
Okay.
gentlemen. That concludes my brief.
Oops, lost it here. Back up. Okay. I'm still trying to get to the rest of the agenda here.
We're on the liaison reports.
Okay, well, I can't find it here. It's not, well, wait a minute here. I'll just do this. Okay.
I have no report for Transportation Policy Board.
Thank you. BDAT.
No report.
And CIP. Solid Waste Advisory Board.
That was
That
Mr.
would have been
Waters.
Dave.
TCOM. Tenino School Board.
She just texted me saying her speaker won't turn on.
Uh-oh. Does she have a big report? Maybe not. TRPC.
That would have been Dave.
Yeah. and the TPB.
That's the one I just said we don't have a report.
Okay, thank you.
Linda,
Public, yes,
she said she didn't have anything to report.
okay, thank you. Public comments number 2. If anybody in the audience has a public comment, please say so now. You have 3 minutes. Just give your name and address, please. One more time, anyone in the audience have a public comment? Okay. Announcements,
I have one.
okay?
The city published a press release on Chief Swain's passing this morning, and we passed that press release to the Washington Association of Police Chiefs and Sheriffs, or Sheriffs and Police Chiefs, WASPIC. And within a half an hour of WASPIC publishing that press release, the city of Roy had delivered a lovely bouquet of flowers in memoriam of Chief Swain. So
Oh, nice.
we thought that was pretty special, and we anticipate we'll be getting more of that.
Yeah, that's great. I noticed there was a good article in the Yelm Online about the chief already. I read it this morning, in fact. And I met with Becky Swain today. Joyce and I went over and brought her some flowers and talked, and she's doing fine. She's fine. Her sister is there with her. And she said she's planning now that it will be at 2 p.m. on Saturday at the Nazarene Church. And of course, she wants all of us to be there if we can, if we possibly can. My cousin and I are going over. We'll leave the Pioneer Village about 1:30 and be there by 2 o'clock. So I wanted to let everybody know. Okay. Anything else?
Councilmember
Okay.
Vogelback, is it going to be a memorial or a funeral?
No, it's going to be a funeral. It's going to be a celebration of his life. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
As I'll let everybody know when I get more information on, whoops, what happened here? Are you still there? When I get more information, I'll just let everybody know. I'll email people. So, okay.
Thank you, Linda.
If nothing else, it's time to adjourn.
Non-debatable motion. You all have a good night now here.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Good